So, okay, you can.
Hi everybody, Kay here, and I've got a lovely lady here with me today called Kat Wilton, who I met recently, and we got chatting, and she's helping me sort out my health and my you've heard me talking probably about my gut microbiome and the things that I'm doing, or I've started doing towards that. And I thought, because I don't know all the detail half the time, I'm just doing as I'm told. So I thought the best thing to do, well,
I'm not sure you quite do as you're told.
No,
but I'm fairly sure that all of your friends on here already know that.
So Kat's attempting to make me do as I'm told, but yeah, I thought it would be a really good idea to get her on and have a little chat, and because she can sort of give you a bit of a view of what's really happening and why we're doing it, how we're doing it, and all this sort of thing. So yeah, over to Kat.
Thanks, Kate. It's lovely to be here to talk to you. So if I just share a little bit about me first, and then that kind of puts it into context. So I was 53 at the start of this year, and I feel in the best health I have ever felt in my entire life. So basically, I was tired, feeling tired all the time from about the age of 25. I remember going to the doctor when I was at university in my final year, and she sent me on my way telling me it was just exams, and that was why I was tired. Up until I was about 48 years old when I did the 21-day gut microbiome reset program. And I went from feeling pretty dreadful on day one, feeling tired, struggling with menopause, carrying too much fat on my body, lacking motivation, procrastination up the wazoo, just generally feeling like blah, lazy, couch potato, to feeling amazing 28 days later. So it just completely, I had no idea it was possible to feel so well, completely changed my life, set me off on a whole new path. And when you discover something like that, you have got to share it with everybody else, for sure.
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah, that's amazing. So what I'd like to know really is, because, for those who don't know, who might see this on YouTube or something, with the blood cancer that I have, it knocks out the immune system. But as the cancer gets higher, I get very tired because the cancer is very much like jelly, and the heart can't get it round, and all sorts of problems happen. It's quite low at the moment, so I'm feeling pretty good. But I'm still finding that every time I exert myself for a little while, I have to have a rest. So it's interesting to me, and a lot of that, if you saw the last video, was about a lack of sleep, where I was hardly having any sleep. My brain was on fire all the time, and I was really hyper all the time. And if you're on steroids and medications and the cancer treatment, it can send you into a bit of a spin. And a lack of sleep, of course, adds to all the problems that you were talking about as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you don't really know why things are happening, it's very hard to put them right. So can you just tell everybody a bit more about the gut microbiome, Kat? Because sure. I've heard that it's like a second brain.
It is indeed. It is. In fact, some say it's the first brain, more so, because there are 10 times as many messages sent from your gut to your brain as there is from your brain to your gut. So you're only 10% human. How funny is that? Only 10% of the cells in your body actually contain your human DNA. The other 90% of us is this bustling community of microorganisms, bacteria, viruses, funguses, all kinds of things that live on us and in us. And if you think about it too much, it gives you a bit of the creeps. So if you were to look at the tip of your finger, there are as many microorganisms on the tip of your finger as there are people in the United Kingdom, which I think is about 60 million.
Wow, that's amazing.
So it is really, really fascinating. 75% of this kind of microbial community lives in your digestive system. So from your mouth all the way through to the other end. And it's in the balance of those microbes that basically is the command center for our health and our well-being. So in broad terms, we have positive bacteria and negative bacteria. Or as my friend who's a colon hydrotherapist calls them, there are good tummy buddies and tummy baddies. So you've got tummy buddies and tummy baddies. So these the balance, and that is how many good guys there are to bad guys, the ratio between the two, is affected by our diet, our lifestyle choices, stress, alcohol, how much sitting we do, how much, predominantly the foods that we eat, whether we eat a good healthy diet or whether we're living on processed crap, for want of a better word, the majority of the time.
And hospital food, of course, is not the best,
and medications, of course, as well in your case, all the medications that you're on, plus the chemotherapy, obviously life-saving treatments, but it does have its...
It's well known for stripping the gut lining.
Absolutely, absolutely. So all of those things basically create an environment in your body that allows the negative bacteria to flourish, so they become abundant over the positive. And that's then when we start to feel tired and our digestion doesn't work very well. Maybe we get acid reflux, maybe, we either urgently run to the toilet or we don't go for 4 or 5 days, don't sleep very well, energy's low, fat's being stored on our body and we can't get rid of it, and a whole host of...
That like the belly fat?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's where it goes on me straight away.
For me, it's the bra strap area.
Oh, okay.
And all kinds of things like autoimmune conditions, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, all of the kind of Crohn's, ulcerative colitis conditions can be tracked back to gut microbiome, cancer, Parkinson's. They all have their roots because if your gut microbiome is not balanced, then the rest of your body can't work very well. Okay. So the positive bacteria is responsible for hormone production, for your neurotransmitters. So mental health is huge as well. If your gut health's out, that's usually when you start to feel anxious and unhappy and you worry a lot, and your mental health goes downhill. So what we really want to do is, what I do is to help people redress that balance and get the positive bacteria back up to abundant levels, and the negative bacteria down to smaller levels, so that all of those things that the gut microbes are responsible for, the hormones and the neurotransmitters and everything else in our body, and also stopping the gut lining becoming leaky, so that we end up with low level systemic inflammation. Yeah, absolutely. All of those things, then our body can start to work better.
Okay.
So it's, and also those negative bacteria are also sending signals to your brain going, give me sugar, give me biscuits, give me alcohol, give me
that fix.
Yeah, because
I think what I've observed is a lot of people that I know, and I haven't been guilty of this myself because I don't do these things, but they'll have a fag, have a drink, and then they'll have a probiotic yogurt, and they think that's all they need to do.
Yeah. Well, it's like having a Diet Coke, isn't it, when you go to McDonald's? It's like, really?
Yeah, exactly. And nobody's perfect, and it is, I've realized that I have lived my life. I've always been interested in nutrition. And I have been, over the years, very fit, very healthy. I've also been very sick. And I'm very, the consistency that's required, because your body will adapt. If I had jam sandwiches every day for the rest of my life, my body would adapt. However, it wouldn't necessarily be well. No, not
in a good way.
But if somebody
it less adapts, it's these choices that we make on a daily basis. If you think about your health as being on a continuum, and at one end is disease state, and at the other end is optimal health. It's the choices that you make on a daily basis that determine which direction you drive down this road. You either take yourself towards disease state or you take yourself towards optimal health.
So it's almost like that sort of when you charge a battery, isn't it? Whether it's going
absolutely
up and down.
And you can turn it around, but it's one of those things, obviously the further down the road you get towards disease state, the harder it is to start to get back, because you do need it takes longer and it takes more because you're further down that road.
Yes. Okay.
So
from your point of view,
it's a nice idea.
So that was well, you see these people at 100 years old and they have a brandy and a fag every day and I'm fine. There's always the
genetics plays a huge part, for sure, definitely. And you can actually that's the great thing now, and we've done this with you, haven't we? You can actually have your DNA tested for your nutritional genes to see what extra nutrition your body needs in order to combat predispositions. So somebody might have really good genetics, there's always that you know, there's always that isolated case. There's always that person as well that really can't even have a tiny bit of anything bad before they just, you know, drop downhill like a stone. So there's always going to be extremes, but in the
Exactly. And we've got Alzheimer's and heart attacks in my family, so I thought I'd start a new trend with the cancer. But yeah, with the Alzheimer's as well, I understand. I've watched a lot of videos over the lockdown as well on that, because my mother is now very bad with the Alzheimer's and imminently going into a home. But she always ate healthily. She was fit as a fiddle. However, it was in the genes. Her mother had it. Her mother had it. You know,
runs in my family as well. But it is that if you can get that extra, if you know exactly what extra your body needs to combat that,
exactly,
do it. But if you don't know it, you can't.
Exactly. And that's why I was saying, you know, I'd much rather work on fact rather than fiction, because you think, you know, all the Weight Watchers and the Slimming Worlds and all these diet plans, even the nutritionists at the hospital, they'd come in and they'd read what was general to me, and I'd say, well, I'm not interested. I want to know what I need. I don't want to know what everybody else needs, you know, because it might be different. I had anaphylactic shock with garlic, you know. I'm one of these people that cannot have garlic and onions. However, that was when I was on a massive amount of steroids, and the medications and the food were not working well together.
Absolutely.
You know, it's peanut allergy. You've got a whole lot of things, haven't you?
Well, garlic and onions are foods that feed your good bacteria. They're prebiotic foods. So when you're in a really poor state, you probably didn't have very much positive bacteria. So of course your negative bacteria is going to go, no, we don't want that. We're going to have a tantrum. We're having a tantrum, and I'm going to let you know.
He's going to call the paramedics. Who go, really? Anaphylactic garlic? It was
so for you at the moment, for you, and this is the other thing actually. Just to, I was going to say earlier, to go back about gut health. You know, you talk to people about gut health, and they say, "Oh yeah, I'm doing that. I have a Yakult every day, or I take some probiotics." And whilst it's a good first step, it's not the whole picture. It takes something. If I liken it to gardening, so you've got a packet of carrot seeds. You're going to go out into the garden, and you've got a patch of ground, and you want to grow some carrots. But this patch of ground at the moment is covered in weeds. Ground's a bit hard. You wouldn't just chuck the carrot seeds down, would you, and expect them to flourish?
No.
You're going to dig up the weeds. You're going to fluff up the soil. You're going to put some fertilizer.
You've got to get the environment right.
Get the environment right, then you plant your seeds and then they flourish. So it's exactly the same. You can put all the probiotics in you want, but unless you're making some other changes to go along with it, they're not. You'll get some benefit, but you won't get what's really, really possible, and that's what's exciting. That's what takes you to the next level.
Yeah, and I absolutely accept that, because of my inconsistent diet, which is mostly healthy but inconsistent. My body doesn't know what's going on from one day to the next, quite frankly.
I was exactly the same. I used to eat the healthy stuff and then follow it up with, you know, like a movie-sized bag of tangy, cheesy Doritos or something.
Yeah, it's almost like having a salad. It gives us a good excuse to have the sticky toffee pudding.
Absolutely. But the thing for you at the moment is you're having treatment. So what the way that we're working for you is to, we don't want to. So when you go into kind of like a transformational gut program, there's going to be a little bit of a period at the beginning where there's going to be some detox symptoms and some things to go through. We don't want to kick stuff up in your body too much at all.
And this stuff,
slowly,
brilliant. This chlorophyll, because I'd go for days with nothing happening, and then another day where I couldn't keep out of the loo. Yes. And this is
really awesome.
It's brilliant. I'm just like, really?
Yeah. It's amazing stuff. It's really amazing stuff. It's also alkalizing you as well, which is, you know, disease thrives in an acidic environment.
Yes.
So going slowly. So basically, we want to do is support your body between your treatments at the hospital, and not, you know, and then we'll keep doing that. And then once you're out of that, then we can take the next step. So, so putting in some probiotics. The capsules that I use are pre and probiotics together, and that's going to help your microbiome recover with all the drugs that you're taking. So it's just helping you to stay.
Yeah, it's keeping that balance the whole time, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
the liquid chlorophyll drink there that you said, which is going to help with your digestion, helps with removing toxicity from the body. Also getting you into an alkaline state, great for building strong red blood cells as well, which is important for you.
Not many of those.
Energizing, it's good for energy levels and for reducing sugar cravings as well. And then we've also got you on a really unique magnesium formulation, which also has prebiotics in it to support the gut microbiome. But magnesium is, most people, I mean, all the population are deficient in magnesium because it's deficient in our soils. We're not getting it through our foods. So I think you noticed a change on that as well, didn't you, with your sleep?
That was actually, but not only the sleep, but then as I was doing that little video the other day, I thought, I haven't had cramp in my legs and feet for a while. Because I actually used to lie in bed, and if I dared to stretch my leg or move awkwardly without thinking about it, I would seize up and I'd be screaming. And I've, because of the nerve damage from the thalidomide that was used in the first year of my treatment, and years ago I couldn't even get out of bed. I was in so much pain. Nowadays it comes and goes a little bit, but I did realize that I haven't got that trigger going on where the wrong movement can set off a massive cramp. Because I think, for instance, when I was in Tenerife and I was in a pool and I was trying to balance a slippery child on a lilo and I was in the water and she fell off, and as I grabbed her, both my legs for all the way up the back locked up.
Oh no.
Because I couldn't quite reach the floor, and I was in agony and I couldn't let go of the child, and I was like, so even though I look fit in a lot of ways compared to a lot of people my age, I'm not always I'm ignoring a lot of things, like the blindness that I had in my eye because the cancer got very, very high and blew my eye. I ignore a lot of stuff. I'm very good because I've got energy from adrenaline a lot of the time.
Absolutely.
I'm very good at ignoring.
That's what got you in your predicament in the first place, was that kind of energy from
loads of energy and not much fuel of the right kind. And also when I worked in an office, I was constant, because my brain was going a lot more. I was constantly eating, and people used to joke about it and go, how can you be thin and eat constantly? And it's because I wasn't getting the nutrition. I was just literally, I was trying to, it was a lost cause.
Definitely. So magnesium, great for cramps. I mean, for mental state as well, for muscle function, for moods, for energy levels, all kinds. And then we've got you on a protein shake as well, because it's something good for you to have, instead of making a bad choice of something that's like tea. And
I've done that. Shall I have a cup of tea and biscuits, or shall I have a shake?
Yes. And it's the whole sugar thing is there's so many people that are addicted to sugar, so many people, and that's it's poison to all of us.
Absolutely. I was a driving instructor for years with I'd sit in a car from the age of 20. I was a driving instructor, and I'd sit in the car with my arm out the window, bag of sweets in the other hand, feet on the dashboard. That was my thing. I just used to eat sweets all day. So it's a wonder I've got any teeth.
Sugar's the killer. And people don't eat enough fat, because of course they're always on a diet with the low fat stuff. You don't eat the right fats that your body needs. So
luckily I'm not too bad on the fats. I'm pretty good with the fats. But I think I will eat whatever the person around me is eating. So when I was in Tenerife and Pete was eating steaks a lot of red meat, and I can't really digest red meat very well. I was trying to eat the same sort of stuff as him, and I ended up putting on a lot of weight because it just didn't suit me. I suit a vegetarian sort of diet, but with the odd bit of chicken. And when I had the stem cell transplant, I was observing. It's very interesting to observe your body dying very slowly and all your organs failing, and then when you get turned around, you think, I haven't eaten for weeks. I wonder what my body's going to want first. And first of all it wanted was chicken breast, cooked chicken breast.
It's protein.
It's the only thing the hospital can't cook. They just don't have it. Have it flown in.
Protein's the building block, definitely. So
exactly.
it would be.
So the first thing was the chicken it wanted, then it wanted mashed potato, and then after that it wanted a bit of pasta. And then once I was actually able to eat without being sick,
energy. Yeah, it's all
then
energy,
I was on to the vegetables and all that stuff. But because it another thing is that chemo, and a lot of people who've had chemo that might be watching this, it destroys your taste buds. You can't smell anything, you can't taste anything, and everything you put in your mouth doesn't quite taste right. But sugar, sugar to me got stronger, and the other things sort of were all a bit wrong, and it confuses the body, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, your microbiome starts in your mouth, so you know what. Well, this is something I've noticed with a lot of people that have gone through and reset their gut is their taste buds change massively, their mouth environment changes massively.
So every other week when I have the chemo in hospital, I'm in for half a day to have it IV. The only side effect that I get is, apart from being drowsy, because they give me steroids and I go woohoo, and then they give me Piriton and I go like this. It's a bit of a roller coaster. But anyway, after that little episode, when the chemo's going in, all I can taste is this funny sort of taste, a metallic sort of taste, but I lose my taste buds for a couple of days.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so I mean, the body's going through a lot at the moment, so it's just important to support it where it's at. This is, you know, it's the time to be putting good stuff in. The majority of the time, no one's suggesting that anybody's going to be, you know, virtuous 100% of the time, but 80-20 is a good rule to live by. 80% of the time, good nutritious foods, 20% of the time, and at 20, just to be clear, 20% of the time means once a week. It doesn't mean 20% of every day. It's like
Sundays off.
And it means one thing once a week, not one day a week. One thing, one day a week, one thing in a 7-day period.
Yes,
I mean, you're in a bit of a bit more of a, you know, obviously a more unusual position to somebody that doesn't have cancer. So for me now, if I eat sugar, I fall asleep within 10 minutes. I wake up and I feel like someone smacked me over the head with a 2x4. And I just don't want. I spent 20 odd years of my life feeling tired all the time. I don't want to go back there. So I don't even bother, because I feel rubbish. So I eat now because the way that I eat, not because I feel like I have to, or I'm working on willpower or anything like that. It's what my body wants, and it's how I keep feeling at my best. And these are actually, honestly, the choices that I make freely without any kind of coercion from myself or anybody else, in that matter. I usually people try and coerce me into eating. Have a bit of cake, have a bit. I don't want it.
I know. It's like, oh, I've given up smoking. Have a fag.
Yeah. So you know, it's the kind of these programs that I take people through, and the products that I use are for anybody. They don't have to be in your position. You know, I've got an autoimmune thyroid condition called Hashimoto's. You don't even have to be in my position. You just have to be someone that's looking to scale up their health, that's feeling, maybe you're feeling tired all the time, maybe your joints ache, maybe. But
it's also staving off what might go wrong later on, isn't it? Because when we're older,
it's an investment for your old age. For sure, it's an investment for your old age, because I want to be that person that's you know, able to do stuff when I'm in my dad's 95. He's still up and about doing, although he is a bit of a sugar monster, but I kind of have to give him that, because he is 95, but he does take some of my products as well.
Oh, that's good.
I don't want to be
sorry to interrupt.
I don't want to go on.
I wanted you to talk about when you got your DNA test results back.
Yes.
How many pages?
200
pages of exactly what Kat Wilton needs in her body and doesn't need.
Yes.
Can you just sort of talk me through, because mine's going to be here in a few weeks, I assume.
Yeah.
Can you just talk me through what you thought, felt and went through, and then put into place from there?
Yeah. So I was just like, oh wow, that explains that. Oh wow, that explains that, which was really, really was really nice. And actually, information makes decision making so much easier. So one of the things that my DNA report showed me, that I am at the highest risk possible of alcohol dependence. which would
Oh,
explain why I was the person that couldn't stop at one glass of wine where everybody else could, and I always wanted to keep going.
Oh.
So now that's still there. I still want more than one, but I just go, well, that's because your genetics, that's what they're predisposed towards. So I just don't do it now because it's given me the information.
Yeah.
So basically, I looked through, to start with, is it gives you a list of 900 foods that are matched. They are marked in a way that tells you whether or not they're nutritionally beneficial for your body or not nutritionally beneficial. So what we do to start with is to go through and have a look at the list of foods and pick out 3 things that aren't nutritionally beneficial for you, that you eat quite a lot of, and take those out of your diet. And then 3 things that are nutritionally beneficial for you, but you don't eat a lot of, and put those and up those in your diet or add them into your diet and start there.
It could be overwhelming otherwise, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I've had a client recently who was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, in a lot of pain, took a lot of pain medication, has type 2 diabetes, and also struggles with her mental health. And she did the DNA test, and it came back, and she's a vegan, and she buys organic food, so she was already doing a lot that she could do for herself. The report showed that she is genetically gluten intolerant. She was genetically not, bananas weren't good for her, and wasabi wasn't good for her, and all 3 of those things were major players in her diet.
Okay.
So she cut them out. Predominantly the gluten went first, and within 10 days she hadn't taken any painkillers. Her blood sugar was easier to control, and her mental health improved.
That's
so
brilliant.
You don't have to necessarily make a massive, there's a lot of information in there, but you've got to remember, you only do this test once. It's your Bible for life, for your body, and you can dip in and out of it. You might go off the rails for a bit, you might go on holiday or go away or do something, I don't know, whatever it might be, and go off the rails, and then you come back to it and you go, right, okay, what do I need to do to get back on the rails?
As long as it's your default setting, then you're all right, aren't you?
Absolutely. So, you know, we're all going to have occasions where we want to have a blowout, or we want to just forget about it, or whatever it is. But actually, once you get a foundation, a good solid foundation laid, then your body's a lot more forgiving of those times. As long as they're not happening every other day or every week, your body's a lot more forgiving of those times when you kind of relax, for want of a better word.
And drink lots of cocktails instead of having any chemo.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's really interesting. So when I come back, that's what I'll be going through.
That's what we'll go through that, and we'll have a look at it. So and consistency is absolutely key. I mean, you know this, it's key in everything that we do. It's consistency. It's the things that we do on a daily basis, and we can be consistent in things that aren't good for us, or we can decide that we are worth it and that we are, you know, deserving, and all of those things, because there's usually a little underlying something. We all have it, you know, none of us are exempt from that one. And make the good choice on a daily basis. And actually, you know, I've certainly been the person that, you know, breaking up with a boyfriend, out comes the wine, the fags, and the ice cream.
Bridget Jones.
Yeah, absolutely. And we you know, we feel like we're comforting ourselves, and yes, we are, but you know,
it's also destructive, isn't it?
How I ended up with Hashimoto's. So
yeah. Interesting. And do you think people don't actually take responsibility for the fact that they have created their wellness or illness?
Definitely. I think as a society, what's the phrase? Personal responsibility is.
What's that quote about the gun? I like that one that you told me about.
Yeah. So it's your DNA loads the gun, puts the bullet in the chamber, but it's your lifestyle that pulls the trigger. So I mean, we're definitely in a world of processed foods, of eating for taste. You know, what was it? We're eating our way to an early grave. Somebody said. Because
and working ourselves to an early grave. I mean, I was doing
absolutely.
both. I was working myself to an early grave. I was stressed out. I wasn't really being authentic.
Yeah, stress
and I
is
actually
huge.
realized that when I had a few months off work, and I literally, when I was first diagnosed and I got out of hospital and I was living on my own in a cottage in the middle of nowhere, and I literally gave up caffeine, sugar, processed food, meat, everything, gave up everything. I was so weak I could hardly move because I did it all at once. However, the cancer, it stayed at 40%, and it just went up. And it actually, I had to go back to work because I was running out of money. And the week before I went back to work, it just started to go down. And because I've got a graph. But you know what? Going back to work, within 1 month, doubled to over doubled to 85%.
Yeah, stress is massive.
And people really don't.
Yeah. And people we don't realize that we're in the thing about it is you're in your body and you feel what you feel, and to you it's normal. And it's not until you take yourself to a different place that you've got something to compare that you actually realize. I had no idea. I was stressed. I had no idea how bad my anxiety was until it wasn't there anymore.
Okay.
So it's
a bit like my cramp. I didn't realize the cramp wasn't there anymore until.
Well, absolutely. And we're more likely to complain about something being there than we are to notice it when it's disappeared. And even, I mean, I've been on my health journey now for 5 years or more, but even now I just started having vitamin B12 injections last week. A friend of mine's partner started to do it, and I was like, oh, I've always wanted to try that, I'll give it a go. And it was about 4 days, and I suddenly went, gosh, my back doesn't hurt at all.
Really?
Yeah, at all.
Wow.
And it hasn't done for like 2 weeks now. I'll get the odd day. And taking a collagen supplement that I've been doing, that was revolutionary as well.
Oh yeah, tell us about the collagen, because that's the next thing I'd like to go on to once we've sorted out my gut and everything. But obviously no rush. But that looks really exciting, actually.
It is really exciting, exciting. So, and it's just like getting older sucks. It really does. I mean, we lose 1% of collagen every year from the age of 20. I mean, we've got no hope, really, have we? I mean, what's the point?
Well, people didn't live past 40 in the old days, did they?
That's true. So I've got a it's not so much a back injury, but I've got a left side sacroiliac issue that gives me GIP, as they say where I come from. And the collagen basically took that away 95%. The vitamin B12 has just got me to 100%. I've literally got I mean, it's really weird because I've been living with discomfort since I was 28. So it's just a bit like, it's just so odd that it's not there. My skin has just been amazing. My nails are growing like weeds. My hair grows like weeds. I've even had a little bit of a boob lift, which sounds a bit odd, but my boobs are definitely lifted a bit and got a bit fuller. I was a bit like, they feel a bit different. I feel so much stronger in my core. It's also, collagen also helps to heal leaky gut because your gut lining has collagen in there as well.
Oh, so and also I've seen photographs of people with them.
Absolutely. This has gone. This is.
Look how smooth you are.
This is my biggest thing. Yeah,
a little bit.
Once you get over 50, you start to look at this and this.
And because I had the stem cell transplant, I actually got rebooted with the collagen as part of that.
Yeah.
But with all the sunshine and the looking down at my phone, that's the worst thing. Looking down at your phone makes this all baggy.
Absolutely.
So it's not bad, but I can see that I'm starting to notice it now.
Yeah. I know it's awful when you look at yourself, especially when you do a lot of these. You're just like, oh my God, what's going on?
And I'll tell you what, these marionette lines, everybody goes, oh, you're fine when you're smiling. Yeah, but when I'm not smiling, the builders shout at me. They go, all right, love, it might never happen.
Oh, really? That's nice, isn't it? So sleep as well. We've had people really massively having their sleep improved, taking collagen. Also, gosh, I wish I'd known about this 30 years ago as well. Period pains.
Yeah.
Getting less, helping with menopausal symptoms too. So it's just like, it's like magic.
So can we add a link under this video to
Well, actually, if anybody's interested, because we can't, our collagen Facebook group is private, invite only. So if anybody's interested in collagen, then just put collagen in the comments below, and we can add you to our Facebook group. If you're interested in anything at all, just say, contact Kay, send her a message, put a comment below, and say, I'd like to know more. No obligation. We'll just have a chat.
Yeah, because the thing is, it's all about exploring. I've always been a researcher because, I started off in PR journalism and stuff like that. And I've always been curious about everything. So I research for England.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes we can all gather too much knowledge and not actually put any of it into practice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or we can try a bit. I'm very good at, I'll try this, I'll try that, I'll try the other. But actually, when you talk about the DNA test, that made me go, right, okay, this
absolutely.
This is stuff.
Absolutely.
So it's very exciting for me to have a track to run on rather than still be researching, but there's a lot to know. But what's really great for me is that all the stuff and I don't have to know all the stuff.
Absolutely.
That's great.
But you'll pick it up as you go. I mean, that's the thing is the great thing about it is you don't have to know everything. And I work really closely with a qualified nutritional therapist. I've worked with naturopaths, with homeopaths. So the kind of like the quality of people that I work with. So I'm my own business, but we work as a team.
Yeah. So you'll be hand-holding, or we'll be hand-holding people if they want to go.
Absolutely. And you need that. Everyone needs support. Everybody needs a support community when they're going through something that's going to change. That's a change for them, because it is so easy to go Monday morning, right, Monday, that's it, Monday's the day, I'm going on my diet, I'm giving up biscuits, that's it, I'm not going to eat any biscuits, and then 2 o'clock Monday afternoon you've got a biscuit in your hand. It's because it's hard. You need someone to help you.
And in business, even everybody needs a mentor. We all need a like-minded community of peers, and if we're hanging around with drug addicts, we'll become the next one.
Absolutely. So you become the 5 people you hang around most with.
Yeah, exactly. So that's fantastic. So if people can get in touch with us if they're interested in more information,
just put a comment below.
Doing various videos and bits and bobs as time goes on anyway. Keep an eye on things.
Yeah, for sure. Just comment below and say they'd like to find out some more about whatever's struck them, or if they just want to chat, that's absolutely fine. Just put a comment below. And then we can.
It's all about spreading it, isn't it? I mean, it's all about if it works for us, then we want, life's all about learning and helping people, isn't it? So
definitely. It is. Once you start to feel really well and you understand how it affects everything in your life. I mean, my whole life has been transformed from doing that first gut microbiome reset program, because.
But this is allowing your body to heal, isn't it? Allowing your body to do healing. Yeah.
My emotional state is so much more stable. I'm able to work on my personal development, on my mental health, on all of it, because it starts with your physical health. Everything else then comes into line with it. Your mental, your emotional, your spiritual all comes into line with your physical health. It's the first step to everything. And then, my God, the sky's the limit. I feel like absolutely anything is possible. And I didn't use to.
So are you saying then that positive thinking, a lot of people believe that positive thinking affects your health? Do you believe it works both ways?
I think it's hard to think positively when you're fighting your internal thoughts that want to go towards the negative, and your thoughts are going to want to go towards the negative when your gut microbiome's out of balance, because that's the conversation that's happening between your gut and your brain. So
that's
just
the thing that I have learned. Yeah, that's the thing that's new to me, because I've always thought that positive thinking, we affect our body's DNA by what we're thinking. And a lot of people have said to me, oh, well, you've got the cancer because of the way you think. And I'm like, well, yeah, possibly. However, how much of it is my gut, the fuel I'm putting in? How much of it is
absolutely
that wrong?
Stress, definitely. And you might well have genetic predisposition that hasn't come out before.
Exactly.
But
it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, I'm really excited about the whole thing.
And I love positive thinking. I mean, I think positive, you can get up in the morning, you can be right, I'm going for the day, it's really good, you can be, oh my God, it's awful. And that's going to set off your day, no matter what good stuff you're putting in. You're less likely to eat healthy if you're in that negative frame of mind. So definitely, but it just makes it easier.
Okay, yeah, that's really interesting that what we put in can affect our mood.
Yeah, definitely.
Really
Oh, most definitely.
we're more likely
Definitely.
to succeed if we're feeling good about ourselves,
Yeah,
aren't we?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Most
perfect.
certainly.
Fabulous. Well, I'm going to leave it there for today. Thank you so
Wonderful.
much for your time.
Oh, my
And,
absolute pleasure.
It's
My
an absolute
absolute
pleasure to be working with you, and we will see where we go with all this. I'm very excited for my report.
Yes.
And
well,
we'll
we can give people an update on that as well as it comes through.
Perfect. All right,
Wonderful.
my darling. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Take care.
Take care. Bye.